Hi everybody, Lyra Horrors here. If you've read the title of this video, you're probably eagerly awaiting some news on this title that I've been teasing for just about 4 years now. Sadly, I don't really think that this is the news that fans were waiting for. Before I get into any of that though, I'm going to shed some light on some very much needed context. Over the last year, I've been thrust into this thing you may have heard of called sorta adulthood. It's been taking up a lot of my time. I have a minimum wage job now, I need to pay rent, I have a lot of responsibilities on my shoulders. And it's also forced me to grow up and change more than I even thought I was capable of. And all of that growing and changing ended up unearthing a lot of realizations, some of them easier to swallow than others. One of them being that my current workload is entirely unmanageable and unrealistic. As much as I'd love to give you guys everything that I can and deliver every project in a satisfactory manner, it's just simply impossible. I can't do it all. And that's been something that I've been grappling with for a while. It became clear to me that at least one of these had to fall by the wayside. And as I looked through the catalog of all the projects I got myself involved in, Cryptid Synapse, Analog, Radar, Dreams of an Insomniac, my streaming, my videos, it became clear to me that one of these wasn't like the other. Almost every one of these projects presented at least the opportunity for a return on investment, but Analog isn't that way. In fact, it's basically just a money sink, and I really don't think anybody watching this video truly realizes how much from my own wallet has went into that game. It is a painful, brutal reality, and it's one that I didn't even originally plan on accepting. I thought it was selfish and calloused to consider financial gain as such a big aspect of this project's continued existence. But here I am, an 18-year-old that does need to pay rent every month, that does need to pay taxes, that does need money to funnel into my creative projects. And when looked at from that perspective, I'm hoping that you can see that Analog just doesn't make sense. And for that reason, I've decided to permanently put the project on hold. Now, let me explain why I'm using that verbiage instead of just straight up saying the project is cancelled, because there is a difference. You see, cancelled implies a sort of finality to it. It's saying, hey everybody, this is set in stone. This project is never going to be worked on again in any capacity, so please, I implore you to share anything you worked on in your time actually being over here. That being concept art, models, writings, music. And while I would still love to share a lot of what I worked on and let people share a lot of what they worked on, I don't feel like sharing everything is the right choice. And I'll tell you why. You see, if there's one thing that Analog wasn't, it was formulaic. I think that the game presented a lot of genuinely unique ideas in terms of how it played, its visual presentation, the characters, the story. I fell in love with just how different Analog became. And as I thought about canceling the project, I realized that it would be far more beneficial to put it on the back burner and then eventually, someday, take the concepts that made Analog work so well and reinvent them and apply them to a completely original IP. I can't guarantee that this will ever happen, and I can't tell you when it would even be, but it's something that I've thought about a lot. Now, where does Studio Yūrei fit into all of this, I hear you asking? And I have a very simple answer. I don't know. By the time that this video releases, a lot of them could already be gone. And it makes sense. I wouldn't blame them for a second. There's so many people at Yūrei who have been working on this project for 2 or 3 years, and to see something they put so much hard work into canceled after my countless hiatuses that they've had to endure through, I would quit too. I'm an adult enough to admit that I wasn't the best director and I wasn't the best leader either, and a lot of that probably was my fault, and some of it was just the way of the world at the time, me transitioning into adulthood. But that doesn't change the fact that every single person on Yūrei, regardless of however long they've been here, they have the right and are entitled to be as upset and heartbroken with me as they quite possibly are. Letting analog rest like this is probably one of the hardest pills I've ever had to swallow in my life. It was my heart and soul and my joy for so many years. It's allowed me to meet so many amazing people, and it's allowed me to expand my creative boundaries farther than I ever could have imagined. But as an artist, as a creator, I've evolved past the need for it. And as painful as it is to say, the project has become dead weight that's hurting people the longer it exists. But for the people who still want to stay on Yūrei, for the people who genuinely do just want to be there because they enjoy my creative vision for horror, and because they just want to see any project that I'm working on through, and assist in whatever way they can. First of all, I'm infinitely grateful. Seriously. You have no idea how much it means to me. But secondly, there are things to be worked on. Right now, I'm in the late stages of developing this analog horror short film called Radar. It's been really, really fun to work on, and I'm super excited to share it with everybody. And as I was working on it, I realized just how much of a more comfortable direction this is for me. It allowed me to express in every single way that I wanted to and be much more experimental with the type of horror I was depicting. And I would love to go further with that concept and get even more crazy. And so maybe, just maybe, Studio Yūrei could be converted into more of a general horror studio, working on things like short films and animations and comics, all that kind of stuff. But it really depends on who wants to stay and, if anybody's willing to entertain this idea. So I guess we'll see. And I'm honestly just grateful for all the time that we had working on analog. It will still always have a very special place in my heart. And to all of you fans who have waited so long, I'm sorry. I really am. But I hope you understand. And I hope y'all can stick around for whatever I have planned next. See ya.